AEC Business, the construction industry's innovation and technology show.
Hello and welcome to the AEC Business Podcast. Today we'll discuss AI-powered MEP design with Niklas Lindgren, co-founder and CEO of Endra AI, a Stockholm-based startup that just raised $50 million in Series A funding. And I'm your host, Arni Heiskanen. Niklas, I understand you're extremely busy, so I'm really happy that you could join us.
Thank you, Arni. Thank you for having me.
I think you've been giving many interviews recently.
Yeah, there's been a hectic schedule the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. You have a background in technical security solutions with Sectragon. What made you start up an MEP design platform company? Was it a specific pain point, or was it just that you saw that there's a huge market?
Yeah, I think there's a mix. So my segue into this industry is that I started, as you said, a company in the security system space. So we were a design build integrator for large scale enterprise security systems. So we were part of building out the data center build out early back in from 2014 to 2022, and that is sort of my segue because we were designing our own. Solutions and had an in-house design team, worked in sort of that was working in Revit and then all of these in these sort of design and engineering parts of the workflow. So that is sort of my segue into this space. And yeah, we were kind of excited about it because so given that we were a design build contractor or an integrator for these systems, our business wasn't designing solutions. We wanted to design the ones that would later install, and then we wanted to install them as fast as possible in order to send our last invoice to get our money and get on to the next project. And that's sort of the nature of that business. And once we saw the bottleneck inside design workflows, and also tried to procure the best plugins on the market, the best sort of point solutions for each and every task. We over time understood that this is an industry that needs sort of more of a platform type of grip to get to work. So we started Endra as well with the mindset of doing this for security systems. Then at some point in time, my dad, actually, who's an architect, said that if you want to have real impact on how buildings are being designed, you should probably not just look at the security systems part of things. You should sort of consider doing the full MEP. So from very early on, we've had a full MEP scope, and yeah, that is how we're sort of segueing ourselves into whatever we do today.
Well, we have had MEP software for many decades already, but why has it been a challenge for developers to actually make it better than what we currently have? Is it something different from architectural design or structural design that MEP has not been in the vanguard of BIM?
Yeah, that's a good question on why, and I think the best sort of to answer that is the one who sort of has been involved in that space for many years but haven't done it. But the core issue that we see today is that the underlying data models in let's say Revit is just not granular enough. You're not able to build the level of automation, the level of hard to solve the really hard tasks inside that environment. So the first thing that we had to do was to build our own platform outside Revit. So we had to start building our own 3D library and 3D format, 2D format, and 2D library in order to get this very granular understanding of what a building is for a computer. So you need to understand, the computer needs to understand what a building is, what a room is, and what a furniture type is. And once you've done that to a very deep level, to a very deep as well, like a geometric deep level, you're then able to start building these type of agents and these type of sort of very fast design approaches on top of that. And if you have the core, if the core foundation is not where it should be, like it is currently in the software is being used, it's very hard to do something meaningful. So I think, to answer your question, I think there's been sort of there's probably a mix between risk. It's very expensive. You have to invest a lot of money and really have an ambitious approach on building a platform where you can bundle a lot of these point solutions onto one single source data model that manages all relations to how MEP systems work with each other, not only sort of HVAC mechanic or HVAC electrical and plumbing or public health. You need to one single source data model that understands how these are relative to each other. So combination of that, it's very hard. It's very expensive to build. You have to take on a lot of risk, and that there are so many point solutions, and I think there's a combination of that has that sort of stopped meaningful innovation in this space. So
yeah, I agree. So you chose AI as the technology to tackle these issues. What does AI enable in MEP design space that we couldn't do with traditional CAD or BIM software previously? Is it as you said, the management of the totality, and or is it speed, or what is the new edge, so to speak?
The new edge is definitely that you can structure. So if you build a data model that we are doing, like a separate data model from Revit or from whatever authoring software being used, you can build a custom data model, and then you can use LLMs in order to ingest the data from the legacy ones and structure that into exactly this data structure that's needed inside Endra. So that's the first thing, which sounds like a small thing, but it's like the core foundation of if you want that type of solution to work. And it's very important to get to structure it in the right way. So that's definitely one thing. We work in what we call spatial AI as well, meaning that we're trying to solve spatial problems, which is a very hard thing. So let's say if you route a conduit or HVAC duct through a building, how do you do that without getting clashes, without sort of clashing with structural objects, clashing with other installations inside this building, and that's a very hard problem to solve. You need to add reasoning processes. You need to add deep spatial understanding of spaces inside this room, and those are the type of things where you can start to now. Not only sort of AI side, but more on the compute side maybe as well. We're a cloud platform, so we leverage big amounts of compute. And what we can, how Endra works is that if you're looking at an electrical system to a building, Endra model everything from a conductor level to the electrical board panel to the, let's say, the receptacle or the outlet outside in the building, and is circuiting everything. And once everything is done inside the data model, where you have the outlet or the receptacle inside, let's say, a meeting room, you have the cable that goes to that one. That cable goes down to electrical panel, that goes to a breaker, and that goes to a transformer. And once you can control everything in that environment and compute everything, it becomes incredibly powerful. And that's not a sort of an AI feature, but what it is that we can compute the most optimal solutions for our users, having everything inside one data model, which is not possible today in Revit, or it would take you a lot of time to do it inside Revit. So those are the type of things that we're currently working on. Endra is not only an AI platform. We leverage physics-based modeling, we leverage simulation, we leverage AI a whole lot, and as well we're doing this inside one single source data model, and that is sort of the product strategy that we're having moving forward.
Okay, yeah. You and many other developers who work with BIM always talk about Revit, and it's a legacy system, and we still use it. But do you see maybe a future where it might be challenged by AI based systems?
Um, I would say my first answer would be no. It may be challenging the way where users doesn't spend as much time inside Revit as they do today. So they may spend some of their time in other software platforms like Endra. So we want to be a workplace where for MEP engineering organizations. That means naturally that we want to move time that they spend inside Revit to in spending that same time inside Endra. Um, but it doesn't mean that we're building a new Revit. We're very much we very much rely on the user having a Revit license. Um, Technically, the user can run a project inside Endra without a Revit license. So we support IFC as input and as well as output. So you can run without Revit, but almost 9 out of 10 users, I think, at least in the Western markets, are using Revit. So it's yeah, I'm not sure if it'll be. I don't think there's a reality where Revit is sort of replaced. I think it'll definitely stay sort of at the point that it is now, and it'll like new companies coming up and in the space will work with Revit and integrate towards Revit in order to make their core products work. So I think it'll be like an orchestration layer where Revit is sort of a center point, and that's also, I think that aligns quite well with Autodesk's strategy as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. So based on what you said, I understand that your platform can do a lot of things that have been traditionally done almost manually by designers. So what is the role and workflow for designers on your platform?
the role for designers on our platform is that we build the whole workflow as a human in the loop. So the users are always in control at all times, and we don't want to build any black box answers for them. So the engineers play a crucial role in understanding what Endra does, valuing that, and editing if needed. And everything is editable inside Endra. There's a full user interface where the user can do whatever he or she wants to do. So the engineer play a crucial role in that. I think engineers over time will do more with less. I think they will be able to start offer new products to their customers, but they will be very central inside this inside the whole design process and engineering process. And they're just going to be able to do more with less, spend time on more high value tasks. I still haven't met an electrical engineer that loves to place 2,000 receptacles or outlets inside a 3D model. So it's a lot of things that they don't naturally don't love to do, that we could sort of help them remove, so they can actually to focus on really hard tasks. I mean, like designing a building is one of the most iterative things that you can probably do in the world. Like just look at whatever other industries, and designing a building, like objectively looks very hard. Many stakeholders, there are so many different consultancies that has to coordinate under a short period of time, having someone to tell them to work even faster, and it's like a hard thing to do. So in order for us to help them get rid of some of the manual and tedious tasks, I think it's that would be incredibly valuable to them over time.
So at what phase of the design or construction process does your platform become useful? Is it already at the, let's say, conceptual or layout basic layout phase, or is it more towards the detailed design?
So we're let's reference towards, let's say, a RIBA stage in the UK. I'm not sure where your listeners are, but let's say we're working towards that. We're talking about a RIBA scale. We were focusing to be, we want the engineers to set the strategy. So they want to be in the early stage and set the strategy for the building and the design intent. And then we want the engineers to work with Endra as they go to a more detailed design. So we want to support up until, in the UK, a RIBA Stage 4 design, and really be the sort of right before it's being issued for construction. That is sort of where we want to sit, and we work with mostly engineering consultancies, some of the largest consultancies on the globe, and they tend to, sometimes they go and do like the actual the construction documents, but in many cases they work up until permit, and that's equivalent to RIBA Stage 4.
Okay, so contractors, MEP contractors, might not be using your platform.
Not right now. We will, we haven't sort of set out that strategy yet, but currently we work mostly with MEP engineering consultancies, and it's both. We have a lot of interest from contractors, but we have, as of sort of right now, and this changes quite rapidly, but as of right now, we're working with engineering consultancies.
Okay. On your website, you're reporting 70 times efficiency gains and cutting design time from months to hours. Are these anecdotal results, or do you see that these could be scalable across all projects and customers in the future?
So it obviously depends on the project type, but I think headline here is that it goes in like dramatically faster versus doing it yourself, and if that could be scaled, yes, definitely. We, in all the deals that we do, we invite the customer to do what we call a customer validation project, or multiple customer validation projects, and that's when the customer pilots Endra on their actual projects that they have done themselves previously. So they have all the data. They know how long time it took. They know what good looks like, and they can compare that to whatever Endra produced. And still, which is really killer metric, but we're still 100% from everyone we have invited in order to do this customer validation project. We have still converted 100% of the customers from that process to a signed deal. So it and if you go on our website, you can see at least some of the logos that we're working with, and these are, as I said, this is some of the largest engineering consultancies on the planet, and so I think that sort of is the best answer to that. That the ones who have tested it have all went through and actually purchased this as well. So,
as we have discussed, our business is very much project oriented. Every project is like a new thing, almost like a prototype. Do your
we're trying
customers
to solve that.
Yeah. So the question was that on your platform, you can actually start building more like processes than projects, and that's, I think that's really valuable. Yeah. So if I understood correctly, you started with fire alarm systems. What's up next in your roadmap?
Yeah, we have been most public, I think, around our fire alarm module. Having that said, the most amount of work has gone into our electrical module or power module, and that is being released for wide access September 14th. We're launching it in Las Vegas the day before Autodesk University. We have rented this really cool venue, and the event is called Epoch. So anyone listening, you should go on our website, endra.ai/epoch. You find all the links in there to sign up. And so we're listing it in Vegas September 14th, and we have some really cool speakers doing it together with us. Someone like Gary Kasparov. We have Gary Kasparov, and as well Amar Hanspal, who's the former CEO of Autodesk. And we're announcing more and more speakers as we go now. So we're it's going to be a cool night, and it's like day zero for Autodesk University. So the day before Autodesk University, and September 14th is the launch of the electrical module. So yeah, it's this autumn for wider access, and then we're releasing it in selected parts of Europe, I should say, the UK and the US.
Oh, yeah. Sounds exciting. How do you see? Because now you have a really good inside view into how AI can improve our processes and in construction. How do you see the future overall in construction? Because we have so many challenges, and one of the challenges is naturally that as we said, talked previously, is the collaboration, and there are so many stakeholders with different agendas and different incentives and so on, and the data is not really flowing between these participants. Do you see that AI could dramatically change the situation, or is it a slow evolution as it has always been? It takes always 10 years to do something new in the construction technology, I think.
Well, I think we're a testament that it doesn't need to take 10 years in order to do something. We've been doing like we started Endra for like a year and a half ago, so there has at least been some things done during this time. So the question is around sort of if AI will help sort of get in, like, do innovation faster, or whether, like, if data is that the overall question?
Yes. So the question is that because we have so many participants,
Yeah.
which are not compatible in terms of data, for example, and the processes are different. So do you see that with these capabilities that AI provides us, we could actually start collaborating better in the future and actually make some, because it's still everybody's so siloed in this industry.
I can speak specifically for MEP engineer and MEP engineering organization. I'm not very looped in like on the details of the other trades, even though we're interfacing with them. But if you look at the stack for MEP engineering organizations, so they have their drafting software, which is mainly Revit. There are obviously alternatives to that, but mainly Revit. Then they are using in either Excel, or they use some point solutions to calculate things like cable sizes or voltage drop and similar things. And then they use sometimes at least like third-party software for spatial coordination, and where they sync their models and check for clashes. So it's like 3 layers of different tool stacks, which only the first one, which is the authoring layer, is the one that everyone's using. And that's not like, okay, now it's possible to collaborate through ACC or Forma, but it's 3 layers of different tools, none of which really speak to each other. So yes, obviously there's an issue there. Endra bundles all of these 3 without with a small sort of flag that we're not building a new Revit, but we're bundling all of these 3 into one workflow for the user. and it's very important for us to do that quite fast, because if we're not helping our users to do everything inside that workflow, it doesn't meaningfully fast add value to them. So we need to bundle all of this. So you should, like, Endra needs to calculate how big your cable should be. It needs to set your breaker rating, like break size, breaker sizing, and it needs to understand where you're allowed to route conduits or raceway systems or whatever. So it's like we need to do all of these things inside one platform, and I think that is what will move the needle for innovation in general here, because another point solution, like no one need another point solution. I've never heard CTO or CDO ask us for another point solution or a tooling upgrade. Like they're more hungry to like do a platform shift than try like go into this more AI native workflow as an organization. And in order to do that, because that is ultimately what we are doing, we're helping them deliver on their AI strategy and their AI transformation strategy. And in order for us to do that, it has to be a platform. We cannot do this with a tooling upgrade. So it sort of naturally, data has to naturally flow inside one platform. And I think the problem for the industry as a whole is that there are so many point solutions, and that's that's the underlying issue for data not flowing between everything. So
that's the reality now.
yeah.
I have been podcasting and blogging for 14 years now, and I don't remember if I have maybe just a few Swedish construction technology startups as guests or interviewees. How is the startups seen in construction technology in Sweden?
For construction technology specifically, there are some good startups in Stockholm. Bricanta is one. They work with contractors trying to find issues. Archive is another. And we do have, and we have another one called AI Bob as well. And we have we have a couple ones that's really are in the space. More sort of broadly, the startup scene in Stockholm is probably one of, like, as of right now, it's probably one of the best places to be in the world. You have access to talent that doesn't necessarily compete with Google, Meta, or SpaceX or anything like big tech companies as they do in Silicon Valley. So Stockholm is a great place to be. We have access to capital. We have access to vast engineering networks. And just look at sort of the AI application layer, at least per capita, we're probably by far the best in the world of delivering these companies. You can just look at Lovable, Ligora, Asana, and you have so many of these from a city that's a population of 1 million people. So it's an incredibly good place to be right now. The startup ecosystem is kind of mature, and yeah, money is flowing into Stockholm, and it's a very vibrant and cool place to be.
Yeah, and you are a perfect example of that.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yeah. So, practical question for our listeners: how can they join in?
To how they can become a customer, or
yeah.
So they go on our website, endra.ai, and then they can fill out the request to access form, and we'll be in touch with you.
Okay, but you already have like 600 companies on your wait list.
Yeah, I think that number is like many months old now, so it's in the thousands.
Okay.
But we're trying to sort of work our way through all the interest that's coming. But yeah, we're currently very bottlenecked by both the amount of people that we are. We're growing rapidly, so we're trying to hire in the fastest pace possible. We went from like 10 people to 36 or something the last 3 months. So we're scaling very fast, but not fast enough. But yeah, that is the best way to do. Or you guys can reach out on my LinkedIn, Niklas Lindgren, and I'll try to sort of put you in touch with the right people.
Yeah, well, I would have a lot more questions, but maybe we'll just leave those for the next time, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, Niklas, this has been incredibly insightful, and thanks for sharing your perspective on where AI-powered MEP design is heading. So, I thank you and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, likewise, Arnie. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to this podcast and visit aec-business.com, the award-winning blog, for more news and stories.